This is the story of two chainsaws and the aftermath of Sandy. I live in the lower Hudson Valley of New York on the side of a mountain, and as you can see from these pictures shot in September of 2013, nearly a year after the storm, the devastation is still quite apparent. It's impossible to walk on any of the trails behind my house for more than 100 feet without encountering a fallen tree. Shortly after Sandy, I made a very serious mistake. I purchased a brand new Poulan Pro 20-inch chainsaw in the hopes that I'd be able to clean up some of the hardwood trees that had fallen in the area. Looks like a fairly serious machine, but in fact it's a total piece of crap. It's basically a 16-inch saw with a 20-inch blade. I was able to use it for about 3 hours the week after Sandy to clean up some of the stuff in the immediate vicinity of the house. But this past summer, I decided to take it up on the mountain and try to open up some of the trails. The first tree I saw it on was this small oak tree, and I saw it for maybe 30 minutes in 90-degree weather before the recoil start mechanism, which is made of plastic, melted. After that, after it was repaired, I got about another 30 minutes of it before the carburetor went bad. Well, I just started looking on the internet for chainsaws, having decided that I would never again purchase anything made by Poulan or Husqvarna, which owns Poulan. And I found a number of generic small chainsaws available for ridiculous prices. 20 inches were about $90. Then I discovered a 22-inch with a 60cc engine and a .375 chain for $100 plus shipping. Well, I bought it. It arrived about a week later. The ad had said some assembly required, and it was. It came with a genuine Oregon bar, a packet of tools, and a sheath designed for this machine, supposedly, but which is only 20 inches long. It also came with a very small gas can that mixes oil and a genuine Oregon chain. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, but the logo's on the chain, and it is, in fact, a genuine Oregon chain. The machine is equipped with all of the safety nonsense that our elected and appointed idiots who have ruined this once great country require. And it's pretty conventional in the setup. I was actually quite surprised by how good it looked as it came out of the box. I had owned other Chinese products, 1911A1 pistol that was very good, and a couple of small Chinese dirt bikes which functioned pretty well. So I had some idea of what to expect, but I must say that I was impressed by it. It was better than I expected it to be. The first and, in fact, the only Chinesey characteristic of this saw was that the log dog doesn't really line up with the holes. This may be intentional. It may be intended as an interference fit to keep it from coming loose, but I ground it off a little to make it fit better and installed it. I used only the tools that came with the saw to put it together. They're not terrible good quality, but they work. I did notice that there were flakes of styrofoam packing in the oil channel, and it was a good thing I saw that and removed them, because the blade wouldn't have been getting any oil, which would of course resulted in ruining the bar. It took a grand total of about 10 minutes to assemble the saw, and it's basically the sort of operations you do when you replace a chain or take it off to be sharpened. I would suggest that if you're one of the dickless wonders who voted for Obama and you're afraid of guns and don't understand machinery, you probably won't be able to put this saw together. In fact, now that I think of it, if you're one of those pathetic neutered liberal males, you probably shouldn't be buying any chainsaw because you actually will cut your foot off. Once it was together, uh, I mixed the oil in their suggested 20 to 1 ratio. That's a pretty heavy oil load, but I wanted to have a lot of oil in it during the break-in period anyway, so I went ahead and used it. I suspect the spark plug's going to wear out fast, and I'm probably also going to have to clean the muffler in relatively short order, but I figured for the first 15 or 20 hours I'd use the 20-to-1 mixture. The first tree that I worked on was a 130-foot tall poplar that had fallen against one of the main dirt bike trails. And I used the saw for about 5.5 hours in the process of removing that tree. It was perched between two ledges, so I had to remove a lot of it. I cut fairly small chunks of 20-inch thick tree because we're 200 feet above houses. So the pictures you see here of me sawing a piece are one that's already on the ground, and it's not really positioned very well. In fact, there are rocks nearby, so I'm going quite carefully, and several times in the course of repositioning the saw, I jammed the blade. But it went through the saw very fast. The machine has a lot of power. The Poulan Pro, which is considerably underpowered, would have taken at least 5 times longer than what you see here. It cuts pretty cleanly, pretty smoothly, and like I said, as you're watching the picture, it's about 5 hours into the use of the machine, and I was quite impressed with it. It is much better than I thought it would be. Now, make no mistake, I don't expect it to be the same quality as a $700 steel. Since the video was shot, I've used the machine an additional 10 hours without any problems. I remain impressed with it. I suspect that I will have to do work on it from time to time in the future, but that's okay. I guess the bottom line on this is I made out well by sending the money directly to the Chinese children that make these machines, rather than sending it to a rip-off corporation like Poulan that doesn't stand behind its product.